The Second Coming of Jesus Christ. Biblical Promises and Fulfilled Predictions. Biblical Promises. Thus saith the Lord. In my manifestation through Jesus, I announced to you the coming of the Holy Spirit, and men thought that it pertained to a divinity, who, being in God, was not known by them, not realizing that while speaking of the Holy Spirit, I was speaking about the only God, who was preparing the time in which he would communicate spiritually with men through a human faculty. Why should anyone be surprised at my new revelations? Truly, I say to you that the patriarchs of ancient times already had knowledge of the coming of this era, and seers of other periods beheld it, and the prophets announced it. It was a divine promise made to men, a long time before I, as Jesus, came to the world. When I announced to my disciples my new coming, and allowed them to foresee the way in which I would manifest myself to men, a long time had passed since that promise was made. Here you have that period unfolding before you. Here you have those prophecies being fulfilled. Who would be surprised? Only those who have slumbered in darkness, in ignorance or confusion, or the ones who have erased my promises from themselves. I knew how little you would fathom my teachings, and the errors which you would make interpreting my revelations. I announced to you my return, saying that I would send the Spirit of truth to clarify many mysteries and explain to you that which you had not understood. Because in the most profound of my prophetic words, I led you to understand that this time I would not come in lightning and thunder as in Sinai, nor make myself a man, putting my love and words in human form, as in the second era, but would come to your spirit in the splendor of my wisdom, surprising your mind with the light of inspiration and calling at the doors of your heart in a voice that your spirit understands. Those predictions and promises are those which are now being fulfilled. It is sufficient for you to prepare yourselves a little to look upon my light and feel the presence of my Spirit, the same one that proclaimed that it would come to teach you and unveil to you the truth. There are many who have not evolved due to fear or to a lack of study. They still practice the law of Moses without acknowledging the coming of the Messiah. Others, believing in Jesus, have disregarded the arrival of the Holy Spirit as foretold. I have come for the third time, yet many do not await me. The angels announced my arrival, and their voices were heard throughout the heavens. Did you not hear them? The spiritual world has come to offer you testimony of my presence. All the prophecies will be fulfilled. The disasters that are now occurring on earth will overcome the pride and vanity of man. Once man becomes humble, he will then seek me, calling me Father. Love me, and thus you will acknowledge me. A prayer for world peace will then emerge from your heart. I love all my children. Once they evolve spiritually and return to me, I will make a covenant with men, and there will be a great joy with the Father and his children. So I said to you in that time, what I have told you is not all that I have to teach you. For you to know all, first I must go away in order to send to you the Spirit of truth, to make clear what I have said and what I have done. I promise to you the Comforter in the times of trial, and that Comforter, that Explainer, is I myself, returning to illuminate you and help you to understand the past lessons, as well as this new one that I bring you now. In wisdom is the balsam and solace that your heart longs for. It is for this I promised you at that time the Spirit of Truth as the comforting Spirit. But it is indispensable to have faith in order not to stop on the path or feel fear before the trials. Predictions fulfilled. Few are the men who know the signs that a new era has begun, and that I am manifesting myself spiritually to humanity. The majority dedicate their lives and efforts to material progress, and in that death and sometimes bloody struggle to reach their objective, they walk like the blind and lose their course, not knowing what they are after. They do not see the light of the coming dawn, do not see the signs, and are very far from having knowledge of my revelations. This humanity has believed more in the doctrines and the words of men than in the revelations that I have given you throughout time. By chance, are you waiting for the Father, in His justice, to send you greater signs than those which you behold at every turn, in order that you may feel and believe that this is the foretold time of my manifestation as the Spirit of Truth? O men of little faith! Now, disciples, you understand why I sometimes say to you that my voice cries in the wilderness, for there is no one who hears and truly listens. So that all men on earth may testify to the truth of this message, I have made the signs that were prophesied in ancient times, the signs that speak of my new coming, to be felt throughout the entire world. And so, when these good news come to the nations, men will scrutinize and investigate all that was said in these times, and surprised and pleased they will find that all that was announced and promised about my new coming has been faithfully fulfilled, as is fitting for he who has one will, one word, and one law. In the second era, the time of Jesus, I announced to my apostles my new manifestation, and when they asked me what signs would announce that period, I announced it to them one by one, as well as the evidence that I would give to them. All the signs have appeared. They announced that this is the era foretold by Jesus. And I ask you, if this manifestation that I am giving you was not the truth, why has Christ not appeared in spite of the signs? Or do you also believe that the tempter has power over creation and over the elements to deceive you? I forewarned you for a long time so that you would not fall under the seduction of false prophets, false Christ, and false redeemers. But now I say to you that the incarnated Spirit is so bright because of His evolution, His light and experience, that it is not easy to give Him darkness for light, no matter how much artifice it may have. That is why I have told you, before you devote yourself with a blind faith along this path, scrutinize however you wish. Behold that this word has been given to all, and never have I reserved a part of it only to specific beings. Observe that in this work there are no books in which I would pretend to conceal any teaching. However, I also said to you during that second era through the lips of John, my apostle, if anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I shall enter within him and dine with him, and he with me. I also taught you the parable of the virgins, so that you would keep it in mind during this period. If the signs and ordeals have been fulfilled, and I have not appeared in the synagogue, nor appeared in any church, has the world not perceived that in some place I would be manifesting myself, since I cannot go back on my word?